Good evening and welcome to Literature in 60 Minutes. My name is Zandile Pooe. I am your host, and tonight I have with me a very special guest. Her name is Favor Leachfield, and she is the author of Are We Not His Children? Thank you so much, Favor, for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you, Zandi, and thanks for having me. And hi, everyone.
Wonderful. So now you get an opportunity to be in the hot seat and tell us about your book, your first baby, by the way.
Yeah.
Your debut book. It is a children's book or a book about children, but I also believe it's for children, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about what inspired you to write this book.
Thank you so much, Zandi, for the opportunity. I must say, my book, Are We Not His Children, yes, was inspired by the fact that I am a mother and also a teacher of the deaf children in a school for the deaf in Rustenburg. So I've used that experience to put something on a paper that people can enjoy, but also the fact that my mother, who has now passed with the Lord, used to work in an orphanage. So as a young child, I got an opportunity to see an orphanage. At that time, being a child, I had my experiences, and I will make some conclusions about things there, and that's how I think that that part of an orphanage came from. However, my inspiration also, like at first when I started this book, I had a dream about two boys who met in an airport. I think the story there's a chapter there that says a trip to OR airport. So in that I had a dream about two boys, one rich and one from not so rich family. And from there, then I started to put something down, but I decided to put the setting in an orphanage and call it Are We Not His Children? So the first chapter of Are We Not His Children is called Daddy's Chair.
Yes. I love Daddy's Chair, by the way. So tell us about Daddy's Chair.
Thank you. Daddy's Chair is quite a mysterious chair, by the way. It's a chair that was perceived to be there by the children. So once in a while, these children will gather in a secret meeting and discuss about this chair called Daddy's Chair. It was known by the children that there's a chair in the orphanage, but the adults had no clue about the chair. So, but another thing about this chair, it was a mysterious chair in that some children will say that it's pink, like the girls will say it's pink with the lilies on the armrest, and the boys will say, will give it a different color and a different shape. Like no one seemed to quite agree about how it looked. But then you are not even allowed to say that, I think there's something odd with this chair, because of if you seem to have doubt with a chair, it meant that you are doubting your ability to be adopted, because they still believe that once you sit on the chair, sure you'll be adopted. It was believed that each and every child who was adopted from the orphanage has had a chance to sit on the chair, made a wish, and was adopted. And in foster in orphanages, you can also foster children and such. So those children who were taken for foster care and later returned to the orphanage were thought to be the unbelievers of this chair. So that's how the children there perceive this chair. There was a boy called Paul. Paul is our main character, by the way. And Paul wanted to sit on the chair to get himself, and not only himself, but his friend Pooe, a loving family, to adopt them. But yet there was another opposer called JJ, or Jason Jr.
Yes.
So JJ was like running the shows in the orphanage, and if you want to sit on the chair, you first have to pay him. And Paul didn't have money. And Paul was like, you know what, I am going to sit on the chair, Pooe. And Pooe did not like that look on his face. He knew that something is coming. He said, whether I'm not gonna pay him a cent, I'm gonna sit there and I'm going to make a wish for myself and you, and we're going to get a nice family for ourselves. So this boy, like, he planned this thing, that how am I gonna sit on this chair? And now he had a plan that, okay, we'll play hide and seek. Kids, they like hide and seek. So he was like, we're gonna play hide and seek, me and you, and then we'll urge everyone to play with us. and I'll be the seeker. Everyone knew that Paul hated that role of being a seeker, but he kept on nagging them up until one day Mary was the boss. She was one of the twins. Mary, the sister was Magdalene. She was like, oh, Paul, I'm tired of your nagging, but you know what, we'll play this thing, but you boys, you like hiding in difficult places, so make sure that you know. So Paul was, no, don't worry about that. I'm going to be the seeker anyway. So it was a good plan. So that day they played hide and seek, and Paul got the last sheep, except Vuyo was like, oh, I'm going to look for Vuyo. So the plan was Vuyo should go to the back, forbidden, by the way, storage room where the social worker Mama B had told them no child should ever go there, behind the library of the school. So in the orphanage. So the children went, my apologies, Paul went to look for his friend Vuyo. So as he got there, Vuyo was already tired of waiting, was lying there, the door, like, Vuyo, my man, this is not time for sleeping, wake up. We're going to find ourselves in our family.
I like JJ.
Yeah. No, it's Paul.
Paul, yeah.
So
Paul was
like, you know what, we're going to find us, wake up, my man. And now it was a perfect plan, by the way. So they opened the door, but when they opened the door, the room did not seem like quite as they had expected, as other children had said, like there were spider webs all over on the ceilings, around the walls, and the furniture there was old, most of them was broken, mattresses piled on top of one another, tables on, chairs on top of tables. And it almost deterred their spirits, but then they were hopeful. So, and when they checked the chairs, none of the chairs in the room fit the description,
of Daddy's chair.
Daddy's chair, the medical chair. And they looked, and when they were about to call it quits, then they spotted a chair right in the middle of the room. It was not exactly what everyone had said, but now it was a bit silver white chair. But it's like Paul was like, Vuyo, there's this chair. Now we get
has
to be the one. It has to be the one. So as they prepared to go there and to sit there and make their wish, So as they were advancing to the chair, a surprise was awaiting them. A family of rats.
The rodents.
Yeah, the rodents were like, what are these trespassers doing here now?
Yeah.
And they were not budging, And Paul took a stick and like, you are going to move. I have to sit there and make my wish. And when mommy and mommy red and daddy red and the 4 kids saw the stick, they ran away. But all the elders of the family, grandpa and grandma red, they like, we're not going anywhere.
This is our territory. We are the residents.
You are trespassing. So as they were there, now Paul is getting desperate. Paul takes an old shed and break the legs there, give one leg to the friend, holds two, and like, we are going to sit on the chair, So when grandpa red and grandma red saw the sticks, and they like, here we're going to die. Now they ran away. Now as they were running away, now they're going straight to the boys, not on the side anywhere else, but they headed straight to them. So as they went there, by the way, Paul was scared of spiders, and Vuyo on the other hand was very scared of rats. So as the rats were coming straight to them, now they went straight into the middle of these boys' legs, and as they did that, now Paul flung the stick up in the roof there on the ceiling, and now the spider webs came with the baby tingling on his face, and this poor boy screamed his lungs out.
His worst fear came to life.
Yeah. So as they did that, by the way, back there in the dining hall, like, it was noticed that the boys are missing. So there's Granny there. Granny was like, where are the boys? And Mira was like, no, we're playing hide and seek. And Paul said he's going to look for Vuyo, but he's been gone for so long. So they were getting worried. Could they have run away or something? Because there was one boy who once ran away. Then the old lady went to the social worker's office, and they started looking for the boy. Such party went by, like, Paul, Vuyo, calling them. So when they heard the boy screaming, they came running to that room. When they came there, they opened the door, and Paul was like having spider webs tingling, on his head. And when Paul and Vuyo saw everyone, and they felt so ashamed. But now Paul was like, determined that, I'm covered in webs and there's nothing to lose. I'm in trouble already, but I'm going to sit there. And Paul said, Vuyo, come, let's go. And Paul ran to the chair, and the children looked, in amazement. And the boys like ran there. But as the boys sat on the chair, and the chair broke. And everybody was like, Daddy's chair broke.
Oh no.
And the children, like, the two boys, hope, in them. And they were crying. And Mama B was like, you two in my office now. And they had to explain the whole thing, why they went to the forbidden room. And when they got there, Mama B was the very, he was so displeased with his boys. Because he was like, I told you, you've disobeyed my rules. I said no one should go in there. And, asking them questions, boys will just look at each other like, my patience is wearing thin with you boys, and now this Paul says to Mama B that, you know what, Mama B, we went there because we want a family. Then it's like, oh, so your family's in there, in that room, so the boys had to explain this myth of this of Daddy's chair, and the social worker, the chair started rolling down. It's like, oh, my children, there's nothing like that. None of the children who have been adopted in this orphanage has sat on the chair. It's just a myth, But he was like, by the way, but there's a chair, that can give you that hope that you want. And the children was like, we know that she loves us. If there's a chair, she will allow us to sit on the chair. Then she was like, that chair's in your heart. I'm like, is she going crazy? Do you have chairs in our hearts? And it's just like, there's hope there and patience there that you need to sit on, and one day a loving family will come and adopt you. And with those words, Mama B broke the myth of Daddy's chair, the mysterious chair.
I like Daddy's chair. I want to keep Daddy's chair. Daddy's chair makes for good storytelling, but also it makes for, I can already see it as a movie. This is the strange thing about this book. When I heard you talk about it the first time, it literally came alive in my mind, because you literally can watch it as a motion picture. So well done to you on writing such a captivating, captivating story. But I like your title as well. Are we not his children? Tell us more about that. How did you choose that title?
Are we not his children? We have a chapter there that says a trip to OR Tambo. My intention with OR Tambo was to give children who have not been to airport, a glimpse of what airport.
I remember my first airport experience. It was a school excursion, so
you were lucky because I went there as an adult,
Oh, wow. Yeah, but you went there nonetheless.
I went there nonetheless. I went there, that's what is important. So I wanted to give children who are going through this book, a glimpse of what to expect, what they could expect, even though I could have exaggerated some things there. But then in that story, kids are excited. There's normally in orphanages, like especially around this season, the festive season, you have the angels who will come and people who are the donors who will come and say, we brought these gifts to you. Others will say, can we take them to the zoo? So there was this other man, Mr. Dikobe, the businessman, who was very consistent, and each and every year the children will look in anticipation of where could he take us, where is he going to take us this year. So that particular year he took them to OR airport, and I'm telling you, everything there in the orphanage was airport, because none of them except Bush had been to the airport, even the adults. They were just like me by the way. So they'd been to the airport, and so it was like, we wonder what the airport will be like. But then, Paul, he never even slept a wink, and he was thinking, what could airport be like? It was, when you get there, are we gonna find a troop of flight attendants waiting for us on our arrival? And it was and we was Paul, I think we're gonna get our flights. We're gonna be giving each and every one of us, we're gonna get aircrafts. And we was what? But if they give us aircrafts, they must be big enough. Big enough so that because of the small ones, they already carry babies. So the big ones will carry the babies and the mummies. So we definitely need the big ones, so mummies can be can be part of the journey.
So the imagination.
We don't want another orphanage. We want mummies and babies. So they're imagining that. So on their trip to OR, it's a nice trip there. And as you go as you pass the trees, when you're young, the tree seems to be moving and they're counting 1, 2, 3. It was that nice trip, singing the hymns, that Mama, teacher Anna likes, their teacher. And as soon as JJ, who was sandwiched between the twins, Mary and Magdalene, realized that the teacher is sleeping, he started with the nice songs from the taverns, nearby tavern, and they all changed to that up until they reached the airport. So at the airport there, they're welcomed by this other the tour guide called Mr. Hank. They just say to Gogo says, like, call Mr. H. You know, they like doing that in the orphanage. You know, if you are Zandile, call you Z. You know, yeah.
They like nicknames.
Yeah, they like nicknames. So Mr. H says, no, I like this perfect. So he takes them around. So as they're going around, these kids, they notice that, but this place is huge, man. There are shops, bookstores, there chemists, you know, restaurants. And Gogo says, but this is like a city. So it's amazing. Then they can see people going up and down, but most of them seem to be in a hurry, you know, and because they're holding each other hands, like, you know, they start losing that, you know, they like each other's hands, and but then they're so excited and amazed of what is happening. So a time came for them to go and eat, and then as they were sitting there eating, you know, Paul was battling with his steak, knife and fork, trying to cut, you know. So as he was doing that, there was a boy sitting. There's a boy that I dreamed, you know. So there was a boy sitting there next to him on a table with his mother. So he had a ball in his hands. It was like flashing with blue and yellow lights. Then he threw it to Paul, and Paul tossed it back, you know. So they kept on playing that game, and Gogo was like, Paul, we don't have all time here. Just finish your food, so we go. So as Paul, you know, concentrated on his meal, and when he lifted his head, the boy had left. But now he had his ball with him. It was like, Vuyo, look, my friend left his ball with me. So he was determined that if I see this boy, I'm going to give him back his ball. So as they were busy going around looking at this magnificent, huge crafts, and like, but these things are huge, you know. And like, yeah, God was like, you know, when they're up there's like small base, but now these things are so huge. But at a distance now, Paul sees his friend with his mom, and they're busy walking. So as they're busy, they just pass the gate B, by the way, and then Paul says, you know what, I have to go and give him this ball, and then I'm going to slip out, no one is noticing, and I'll come back. And he was determined. Paul was a very determined boy. If he wants something, he will do it. Yeah, he gets it done. So this boy goes there and tries to wave to his friend, but his friend cannot see him. Oh, no. So then there's a queue in front of him. So he waits on the queue, and in front of Paul, then this lady, she's got headsets on, and she's busy, you know, drumming the back, you know, his back, and you know, and Paul wants to, you know, to pass this rock star, and the rock star doesn't want to pass. But finally he made it.
Oh wow.
And then he passed this girl, and now he goes to this guy, and because of he saw that when his friend passed there, the mother gave us the guy something there, and he passed. Then this man says, take it, please. But the guy is assuming that this young boy is with the lady, you know, the drama behind. And then say, take it, please, you know, smiling. And the boy's like, take it, please. Where does this uncle think I'm going to get a ticket from? You know, but like manna from heaven, he looks there, and there's a, you know, a ticket, you know, squashed and you know, with gooey on it, and he picks it up and he's like, here's a ticket. You want a ticket? Here's a ticket. And the guy says, no. Now you never say no to Paul. Paul despised the word no.
Oh no.
So it's like, what do you mean no? But you say you can't go through. No, but you let my friend, you know, and his mother to pass. But why can't you? Are we not all God's children? Are we not all his children? So this man is like surprised what is going on. As he was busy with the child, the security guy comes, and what is going on, you know? And Paul like look at this man, but as Paul raised his head, now there was a mural of children in a circle, and surprisingly enough, it was boldly written there, are we not all God's children?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then Paul look at this, say to this man, are we not all God's children?
Are we not all supposed to go past
and then because he was crying, then he starts smiling when he sees that, and the man's like, what is happening now? You know, and then he changes moods again and said, you know what, today I'm not going to take any no from anyone. So, but as they were busy in that thing, because they were looking for him, you know, his friends and the workers from the orphanage, then the security guard and that man found themselves surrounded by children from the orphanage.
Wow.
That's where it's coming from.
Sure. That's so profound. So you dreamed this.
Yeah.
You decided that you're going to honor that dream, and you're going to write a book.
Yeah.
And you put the body of work together. It's such a wonderful story, I must admit. It's very heartwarming. It's heartbreaking because you think orphanage kids, oh my gosh, I don't want to deal with that. But then when you hear of daddy's chair and the hope behind that. It makes you think, and it makes you really find that sense of compassion to think. I mean, like you were saying earlier about the festive season. This is the season for family. This is the season where people, if they are not from this place, they go back to their families and they come together, and it's a loving environment. But when children are in an orphanage, that's the only home that they know, and the people, other children that are there, and the caretakers, obviously. So you work with deaf children as well.
Yes,
so tell me how did you draw some inspiration from your experience with working with deaf children, and how some of it found its way into your book?
Thank you. Yeah, working with deaf children, what inspired me, like with them, is that there is some similarities with the orphans. Not all of them are orphans. I think maybe 1-2 you'll find orphans there. But with deaf children, firstly, they are living in a silent world. Like, since they cannot hear, their eyes are their ears. That is why in deaf culture we are so specific that you must put your lights on, all the noise that you don't, because of with me and you, as you speak, I can talk to you facing that other direction, but with them you must maintain contact. What your face expression says a lot to them. So, but other than that, since in South Africa we don't have a lot of school for the deafs. Like our school is the only one in the Northwest, in Rustenburg. So what does it say, or does it mean? It says that a young child from the age of 4 will be separated from the parents and come and stay in our school. It's that age when a child, needs their mother. I believe that all children need their parents, to whatever age. So, but at the time, like, these kids are separated, from their parents. So there's this as well. There's this also the way that these kids will perceive life as well, since they're deaf, since they're missing, a lot of information. We can recall that it's not so long that on our TVs that now we can see interpreters, so you can imagine
transcription at the bottom.
So you can imagine those ones who have passed. So information, they were losing so much information. So with them as well, there's a way that they perceive things, and whatever that they are taught at school is so much important that you have to be deliberate. It is something that you'll perceive that this one is it's an obvious thing, But then with them, you have to say, this is mother, it's your mother, this one, I'm your teacher, your name is Paul, by the way, your name is Paul. So those little things. So there is this similarities between them and this from the orphanage, in that, whatever corner they are in or they find themselves in, they still hope. If adults who are responsible could help them, just like in the orphanage, like we've got Bo, Gogo, and Mama B, who are giving these children hope. Like, so adults who are responsible, whoever being the parents or teachers, can play their role. These children, can see the end of the tunnel. So, there is shining, it's bright and shining, and they can access whatever they could not access if opportunities were not there.
Sure. Yeah. Because I think the disability has been made a mystery to us. If in the public, if you don't live with somebody who has a disability, if you don't know or exposed to anybody with a disability, you can really live your life not considering them at all.
That's true.
Because nothing around us speaks inclusion for them.
Absolutely, Sandy.
Like nothing around us, because I think sometimes you think to yourself, I'm walking up a ramp, but then it hits you later that, that ramp is actually for people who are disabled. In malls and places like that, even our spaces are not designed for, people with disabilities. Because when I think of someone who's deaf, how do they find their bearings in an environment that has nothing for them, So that's just the thought that is coming to my mind.
You are so correct in a way that to date we don't have schools. Like what should be happening, if I should put that way, our deaf children should be in what you call the normal schools or the mainstream schools, But in our schools, they look more like special schools, because only they, you've taken your deaf, you put them aside. So, because inclusion must start, in societies.
Exactly.
So there is still this, it's just a term that we use, when we make awareness and, I think during political parties or whatever, speeches, but then it's not real to an extent that, now, like we find that we've got school for the deaf, one school for the deaf primary school. Then they move, they go to Lodoran Start Secondary. The others were like in Gauteng province, but all of them, they attend school for the deaf. Like in Gauteng, example, like in Shanguve, we've got Philadelphia, where it's it's school for the disabled, it's deaf, it's blind, and so there's this thing. Hence, like our kids who are not disabled, they cannot get used to them because they see them from a distance. It becomes a mystery. Oh, he's in a wheelchair. But can you imagine if you're living with someone every day, you're shooting a meal, and you understand, their way of life, yes, the etiquettes and everything that is expected.
And I think also some basic language skills that we can be taught to accommodate them, because deaf people, it's sign language. So if there was some kind of basic teaching, I mean, your thank yous and your pleases, and just to know how to converse with somebody who is not able to access the same sensory sort of stimulation that you easily access. But yeah, I think that's just a sidebar for people to also give it a think. There's an important segment of the human race that is disabled, and we do nothing for them, and we do nothing about it. A lot of the time the resources available to them are very minimal, and they are God's children.
They are His children.
Yes, they are His children. And we need to be reminded of that a lot of the time. But now back to the book.
Awesome.
So tell me about JJ. The character of JJ fascinates me.
Oh, I love JJ.
Tell me more about JJ.
I love JJ. Actually, I love everyone, But then I love JJ. JJ is this boy with ruddy lips, When he was born, he was just this boy with ruddy lips, blue eyes. And this other morning, Saturday morning, this old couple who had a spaza shop, they woken up by a bell, and Gogo was like, who can just come and buy this time? It's too early in the morning. So when Gogo opened the door, there on her doorstep, she found a baby wrapped in a quilt. And Gogo was like looking, what is happening, And Gogo, like, it was him and her and the old man, like, calling Tate Mukhosi, that's the name. Tate Mukhosi was like, every time when Gogo calls, you just ignore Gogo, It's like
Tate Mukhosi has man syndrome.
Tate Mukhosi was like, you know what, I'm not gonna wake up. And he tucked himself, and said, I am not getting up. And then the lady, us ladies, she took it very high.
Yeah.
And the neighbors' dogs were competing, and the neighbors were peeping. What is happening in the old grandparents' home now? So at last, the old man woke up, stomping, his stuff on the carpet, and said, uttering words that are not decent to say in public.
Yes. That's what happens when you get woken up when you don't want to wake up.
So as he was about to point this old lady with the staff, say, then the old man, saw the boy, the baby wrapped there. And when the old man carried the baby, then a note fell down. And then on the note it was written, his name is Jason Jr. Please raise him, Gogo, because I can't keep him. So the old man and the old lady look at the child, and the old lady bled. Her heart bled because she never had a chance to have children of her own. Then she asked God, how do you give those who will discard them, and you withhold them from us, those who do anything to keep them? So she remembered that she never got the opportunity to have her own. And the old man took the child. When the old man took the child in his hands and looking at this boy, at Jason Jr., then he was like, am I dreaming? It's like the boy looked like Obas, clean Freddy's child, grandchild. So when the old man looked at the boy, Jason Jr., then the old man was like, is this, Obas? Grandchild,
it looks like Obas.
Yeah, it looks like Obas. Obas, grandchild, clean Freddy. But then he was like, no, man, he just woke up from his trance. Said, no, but the clean Freddy should be, of school going age now. Besides, Obas, was scared of the of the location. He had stories, he had stories about the location, and so he was like, no, it can't be. So, but then now the couple just adored the child, and they called the police, and the police said, no, we will come. So the police came after an hour, and then they said to them, okay, you know what, we won't take the child. This child, we're gonna call the orphanage, Banabopelo, then they will come and fetch the child. So after 3 hours, so they called the orphanage. The orphanage said, no, after 3 hours we're gonna come in and collect the child. But 3 hours turned into months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this couple, fell in love with the child. The old lady got used to this cries, and then carrying,
and
carrying this baby boy, on this weak, back and everything, but yet, each and every time when someone will knock, they were like, is it them? They were always jumpy. Is it the time? And time passed by, and the old man will sing to this boy, lullabies, Glen Freddy,
Oh. How sweet, man.
Yeah. So he'll cry, he'll sing to this child, and but one day early in the morning, the doorbell rang.
The fateful day
and
came.
Yeah, it came, and something sharp cut across the old lady's heart. And she opened the door there, and when she just peeped through the door hole to be safe. And when she opened the door, the old man came, and a lady neatly dressed with a bun, introduced herself as Makopano, the social worker in the orphanage, then. And she had she was in the company of this young boy. So this one is a trainee social worker, and we're here for the baby.
Sure.
So that fateful day had to come, and she thanked the old couple for taking care of the child, and she gave them a compensation of 2,000 for taking care of the child, and apologized that the orphanage car had broken, the van had broken, hence they could not come. So they took the baby, but she promised the couple something that she kept up until she was transferred, that each and every weekend, if possible, the child will come and visit. They'll bring the child.
They'll bring the
so
child.
she kept that promise, and they did that. So as they were walking away, it dawned on the old lady that the day has come, and she thought she was prepared for that, but clearly she wasn't. She kept on kissing the baby. And as they drove the car, she just stood by the window up until, it was gone and everything. And in the car, surprisingly enough, the social worker repeats the old lady's statement and say it's amazing that what other people are willing to, to let go of. Others are willing, they can do anything to keep it, to keep for it. Then she was like, but if only this was a young couple, they could keep the boy if you can get a hold of his mother, if it wasn't. But now they were an old couple. So then JJ was taken to Banabopelo. Yes, the regular visits to the old couple's home. They will pamper this child with everything that he needed. But then after 2 years, Grandpa Mokosi passed, and he broke this boy's heart. A year later, the old lady passed, and the boy was devastated. Now, by the way, the old lady used to call JJ Clean Freddy. Yeah, so never called him Jason, Gina, or JJ, but you could call him Clean Freddy. So then they passed, and at the orphanage, this young boy was so adorable as a toddler, playing around and everything. So this fostering thing, like they will foster him, bring him back. So during December, when they will take this child and bring him back into the orphanage, his interpretation was like, they don't want me because I'm a naughty child. So each and every time, or every time when they will come and adopt a child, there's a spot at the window where JJ will stand there and watch the cars as they will take the generations of children in the orphanage. So it really destroyed the child, and to an extent that he started hating himself, and those who wanted to love him, he just despised them. And he became a messed up boy to the fact, because of, when you get you are fostered by different people, different families, different rules, so the child was just messed
different
up.
Treatment,
different treatment, and no one seemed to want to adopt him. They will complain with this and that. To an extent that this boy became, to self-protect himself, became a bully, a liar, a thief. When something was stolen, they would say it's JJ, and most of the time it was him. So that was JJ. But Mama B, the social worker, was very compassionate to this boy, and she would always remind the workers that, if you were JJ, most likely you would turn up like him. So just give the boy love and chance and hope. And these workers, they started, to listen to Mama B, and slowly but surely he started changing into a wonderful boy. And then he was good at sports as well. He played soccer. Yes, he played soccer very well. And every time when he will kick the ball, there was a standing ovation, and the stadium will go cream.
So he was very talented.
Yeah, he was very talented, and that helped him as well. And one day, after the match, one of the matches, Mama B stood there with a certain couple. And Mama B was like, boy, you don't know, I've got great news for you. And he was like, these two men here, these two couple here, they're here to adopt you. And the man said to JJ, say hi. Immediately when he said hi to him, this boy started crying, the tears rolled. This couple reminded him of Oma and Grandpa and Grandmother Mukhokosi. Yes, and there was something about them, the way they spoke, the way they carried themselves, everything about them. It was their eyes, he was just reminded of them. And then Mama B explained to him that they've seen you were playing one day here at the stadium, and since then they've been coming every time to watch you. And now they want to take you as their boy. And as the man gave JJ a hand, because Papa Mkosi had a firm hand grip, for a man his age. So it just felt like Papa Mkosi's one. And JJ said to this man, just call me Glen Freddy.
What? You are such a great storyteller. That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow. Sure. No, I must get this book. My children must read this book.
You'll definitely get one.
I'm telling you. But now tell me about the practical real life side of being orphaned, because I really believe that the story you are telling is a fictional tale. However, some people are living that reality. And it may not be as extreme as living in an orphanage. But sometimes we live with an orphan spirit. Because we either are in an environment where we have parents that have birthed us but do not love us. We are in an environment where we've lost, just like JJ, we've lost people that cared about you and loved you, but now they are no longer in this world. And you are left to the care of those who are there, but don't quite have that same heart and love for you. So what are your thoughts on, the orphan spirit and what people need to be aware of about carrying something like that and finding their home, if I can put it that way?
Wow. I don't know if I could do justice to that, but as you put it, an orphan spirit, I don't think there's anything wrong with an orphan spirit. I think it's a good spirit. Because I perceive an orphan spirit as a spirit that says, God is my father.
Amen.
The same as Abraham, as an orphan, God will say, stay here while he was busy resting, actually move to this place. So it's an orphan spirit, that, because like you're saying, we could be having a parent, who's not parenting, you know, or you could be having a parent who's too much parenting, you know, doesn't want this child to grow, you know, it's, so, but then there's hence something like this, if you put it as a spirit, the orphanage spirit is a good spirit to say, like, you know, I've got a father who should father me, because as people, I always say people are just stewards, you know, but it is good to be an orphan. There's hope in that. There's hope of because of like in that space, you are searching for truth. And if you are searching for truth,
belonging.
Belonging, so there's hope that, you know what, because if you are searching for truth and not deception, then you find truth, you know, in the midst of everything, circumstances, irrespective of how hard it is, you get to that a point where, oh, this is what I was looking for. So I don't think I should at a point, all of us should be in a point, like areas where, like, here I'm an orphan, you know, this is where I say, like, you know, Lord, I'm yielding. I've yielded this area to you. You know, I'm not in control, and I'm not allowing anyone to be in control, because I am your orphan. Just let me. So for me, the space of being an orphan in a spiritual aspect, it is not a bad thing at all. And also, our steps are ordered by God anyway. So with children being orphans, you know, it is Him who understands these things more than we do. Some things we cannot even come with answers. Why did this one happen? But then He knows, you know, because we've got homes which are good, homes which are not good. You know, we've got children who are raised in orphans and turn up to be good. You know, so we've got different. So we kind of say that this happened because of this and such. But I think in this book, what I'm trying to say is that the orphanages are not place of gloom, as you know. Sometimes I think we get to visit them, we perceive them, to be, you know, places of sorrows and gloom. But no, they can be place of laughter, especially with our interactions with them, us visiting them, us, you know, going there to read a book, you know, for the children, you know, to give them hope. And because I always say, like, as a teacher of the deaf, I've realized this norm of pity from people. And people, when they pity you, they want to give you food, they want to give you clothes, and I'm like, you know what, we are so thankful of the clothes.
They don't treat you as equal. You know, they don't see you as someone who's as capable as they are. It's like you become a lesser being, and I struggle with that. I think,
so I'm like, you know what, we are thankful of the clothes, we are thankful of the food, but you know what, in this we are not getting much. Can you give us sustenance? What will sustain us? You know, like, you know, let's network, like, you know, because we are relationships, but which are not tangible, you know, but that which will take us somewhere. So
But now, because I'm trying to link the title of your book, the story itself, to a larger societal challenge. We are having more and more children choose to be orphaned, in the sense that they choose to be street kids. They choose to go out into the world, not to a shelter, not to a place of refuge, but to go out there and be in the world, but struggle on their own. That to me, it's something I can't imagine myself doing. So I can only imagine the courage and the desperation one must be in to choose that for themselves. What are your thoughts on that?
David, I never thought much about that, but as you are saying it, you know, when you're speaking about the courage, and in my mind, I'm like, you know what, we need to hear their stories. Their stories as well. What to lead someone to go out, and, you know, the experiences,
because it is that orphan spirit that will lead you to decide this place is not what I want. And because they don't have a relationship possibly with the father, then they find themselves in an environment where nothing else matters but for their freedom, if I can put it that way. Because it really bothers me when you walk, either you're driving in town or you see not childless, but homeless people, and you think to yourself, in a world where, number one, our makeup as people, we are built for relationship, why would you choose to disassociate yourself from, you know, the first relationship, which is family, that you will have in the world, and choose something that is unknown, you know, something that is different? I mean, Abraham was led out of Ur of the Chaldeans, but he had a purpose behind his journey. It's not like he was wandering, you know, in the wilderness for nothing, but there was a purpose behind it. So what of the child who has an orphan spirit and has decided to wander in the world and still doesn't know the father.
Wow, it's amazing, because when you speak about it like a child leaving the family, because I think in a family we are looking for purpose, if I can put it way, like what joins us together. So I think it's at a time when someone says like, but I'm not, like it as a body, I'm not part of the body, I'm not giving strength to this, whatever objective that they're building, because the family is building, or I'm not getting any strength. So I don't belong here. So I think it's at that point where someone will say, no, I don't see myself, I don't see my role in this place, so I don't belong here. So it's also a sense of belonging as well, to say no, because family is buildings. We talk about family, talk about you're building something,
and lineage.
That's why they say, you two cannot go if they don't agree, because we have to agree for a certain purpose, objective.
And then now hope. Hope is the final chapter.
Hope is the final chapter.
But hope is the most important chapter, because it's at the heart of everything. It's at the heart of life. Life is about hope. We hope we're going to wake up the next day. We hope our lives have meaning and purpose. So tell us about the hope in Are We Not His Children?
The hope, it's a wonderful story. Hope, wow. Hope, this lady, she's amazing. It's a lady. So hope is a lady. But what happens on this particular day? There's an announcement on the intercom that a visitor is coming. This person seems mysterious, because no one wants to say that, to tell people her name or his name, because they don't know at the time who is coming. And workers are so nervous and a bit upset. Why can't you tell us?
Why is there so much mystery around this particular
why can't you tell us about, what is this person's name? The kids, of course, they're excited because of, everything is changing now, now they're practicing the dramas, the traditional dances, the poems, because there's to be a celebration for hope when she comes. So everybody's preparing, they're cutting the lawns, the haircuts for the children, everything is changing. The mood in the orphanage is changing. The drum majors, the practicing the formations there and everything. So preparing for this day. And the day comes of the mysterious lady or mysterious person who's to visit the orphanage. So on that day when she came, the sirens, they had the sirens from afar, they approached, and the flashes of the camera, the reporters,
celebrity incoming.
Obviously. So it's not an ordinary person. Some kids, they are sitting there inside there with a nice music playing inside. Others, the drum majors and the drummies are waiting outside for this person, to come. And then two men, like 4 actually men dressed in black, comes out, looking very neatly dressed. They go into the hall. There 2 goes in there and entertain and look at everyone. The others remains behind, and thereafter a lady comes carrying a small girl in her lap. And then she comes, and followed by this other gentleman behind her. This one is carrying the boy. And the boys, the orphanage, they marvel because this boy's got nice, curly hair, and in a nice suit, a small boy. So as soon as she came, then a certain lady dressed in black as well, white suit, a black suit, then also follows them. Now, as they're coming, then an entourage of people comes there. A man with, the mayor comes, everyone comes, neatly dressed people are coming, and then they sit there. So, and everything starts, the national anthem, South African national anthem. Wow. Everybody's, they're singing their poems, during the traditional dance, everybody's on their feet, And this lady, there's a lady there, she keeps on crying. Everything she cries, and as she cries, the lady sitting next to her with a black suit keeps on mopping these tears. And the kids, they're wondering what is happening. And as she cries, her baby cries as well, So then it went to an extent that then a time came when the lady, the program director, announced that, now is the time for our mysterious lady,
our special guest of honor
to come to the podium. And as she went to the podium, then as she looked at them, she started crying, and the lady mopped the tears, and the kids marveled, And she said to them, my apologies to everyone. I didn't mean to my visit to to this place to become a mystery, you know. And she starts crying, and then but she said like, you know what, you children, you all know me. And the kids are like, do you know her? Do you know her? Do you know her? You know, the others will say yes. You know, I mean, I don't know her. You know, and she did that unthinkable. She calls the children sitting in front to the front and say, because you know me, you are going to tell them my name. And you know, Mary, the twin sister, you know, she's bold and she gives her name Lillian. You know, then Magdalene, she said, the twin sister, she sighed, just kept quiet. Vuyo there, Vuyo raised her hand up, and you know, everyone laughs and say, what's your name, boy? I'm Vuyo, so I like you, Vuyo. So Vuyo says, no, you're Magdalene. Vuyo was in love with Magdalene, so you're Magdalene, yeah, you know.
I love stories.
Yeah. So they give this lady names, and she says, you know what? All these names are mine. And Gogo at the back is like, this is gonna be a long day. The kids are also wondering, how can someone have
all our names,
all these names, so many names? You know, the lady with many names, and she and then when they sat down, you know, they gave them gifts, and they were surprised, these kids, because all of them got what they've been wishing for all along. You know, and as she kept on talking, Paul was like, she's wasting our time, you know, and she was like, you know what, children, the gift that I have for you today, it's bigger than what you're having there in your hands. And Paul was like, what could be bigger than the PlayStation? You know, So this lady says, you know, I am that gift. And Paul was like, I told you for you. I knew it.
Paul is a smart one.
Yeah, I knew it. You know, so but this lady says, you know what? She said, you know, when I first, she says, I'm you because of I've once sat on your chairs, I've slept on your beds, I've ate your food.
Wow.
And you know, they look at this lady and she says, Gogo, when I came here, mommy and my mom and dad didn't give me a name, and you called me China because of my eyes. And Mkulu, like Gogo's husband, is like, I knew there was something familiar with his eyes, you know.
His eyes,
and you know, then they jump there. It's how Mkulu and Gogo, they start crying. She's the first child in the orphanage. And she tells them a story that, you know what, I moved here, I went, you know, I was working as a flight attendant, you know, and then I met this king, this prince of the land of the kingdom of the Pearl. And it's a love story, yeah.
What?
And then he married to me, and this is our kiss, you know. I'm the queen, you know, of the land of the Pearl.
From an orphanage.
Yeah, from an orphanage, yes. And my queen, my king has given me a name called Hope, and say, but you are all hope. When I look at you, you are all hope, you know. So you are me, and I'm you.
Wow.
And so that is hope. So yeah.
That's amazing, hey? Yeah, your storytelling, it really makes me think of, you know, that those childhood stories that have stuck with me, you know, like your stories that you will remember forever, you know, and that get imprinted in your heart and you remember them off of memory. I really honor and thank you for honoring this invitation first, and just honoring your gift as well, and writing the story. You know, it's never easy to write stories down, but you had a dream, you saw these characters, and you decided to flesh it out in a story that gives hope to, I believe, people who are very hopeless, and people who feel like they don't belong in the world, people who doubt why they exist. And you are there to tell the story so that it may ignite something in them, and that they may keep going, however hard their journeys are. So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me as well.
So tell people how they can get in touch with your book, how they can get a hold of you, if they want you to come, you know, and share your story.
Yeah, to get my book, I'm still busy with taking to the different bookshops. But then I've just opened a website. So if you just check for his favorite, then you just get my book there. And also, like those who are living in Rustenburg, I'm also like making deliveries to them. Facebook is also available as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. Well, that is us for this week's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you are going to get the book, Are We Not His Children? Is there a number that you'd like to share with the audience in case they want to get in touch with you directly?
Yes, I have my number. It's 073 184 1875. I'll repeat it. It's 073 184 1875.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. You heard it from the author's mouth. She is a phenomenal storyteller, like I said. I'm sure you've heard it for yourself, but get the book. Let's support our authors. Let's support people who are writing stories that are going to change the trajectory of generations. But that's it from us for this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you again next week with yet another author interview. But next week is going to be my last week, so please stay tuned. Thank you so much. Have a fruitful week, and I'll catch you again next time. God bless you.